much as I love Kimura's, I don't use sexy to describe them.
No, I think you're right. I don't either.
Our guests are going to be here soon.
They ought to be fun to talk to those guys.
Yeah,
we're
man,
kind of
just
avoiding
throw it
certain UFC news because I'd rather talk about it with them.
It's good to bring it up. I want to also bring up how DC, I don't know if it's on here, but DC was bringing up how, basically times change and like,
you have
Tito,
it on the
is it on here?
The second page.
Then we can read that when they get here. He's basically saying how like the Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddells aren't as good as the Jon Joneses and
right, the Daniel Cormiers.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when they get here. Let's ask what they think about that too. I don't know about that. I think Chuck Liddell in his prime put him versus anybody.
Yeah, I think so.
Tito it's always been more a little gun shy with the stand up. You know what I mean? But he's always an athlete and whatnot. But he's always tough too. I think he compete with the guys nowadays. But Chuck,
he's still fighting almost. Tito, he just stopped.
Chuck, I think because he has a great. He's a good anti.
You think his wrestling was underrated?
His wrestling's good at keeping it up. He's hard. Who's ever got him down? Then they put him with Kevin Randleman and he knocked him out. Maybe he rest in peace. He knocked him. I mean, I fought on that card, man. He blasted him right away, put him out. No, Chuck Liddell was the real deal. If that guy's chin was still intact, he'd be still in there. Just
yeah,
because it's not about his offense. You know what I mean? That guy still punched through a freaking wall.
Chuck punches really hard, doesn't he?
Yeah. Chuck, he looks like. I mean, look at his meat hooks. Chuck's a good dude, man.
He's a great guy, but he's a guy who his fist is a problem solver.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a guy about the guys we talk about now. Who he's the guy that really loves it too. I mean, he just loved to fight.
He did love to fight.
I mean, he loved it so much that he had a hard time saying goodbye. You know what I mean?
You don't think he was afraid of losing?
I think he was made to fight.
Some guys just love it, right?
Guys that could just really pull off that mohawk. That's like the mullet. That's not sticking around.
You have to be able to fight when you have a mohawk with a Chinese letter tattoo on the side of your head.
Kempo in his head or something.
You better be able to fight.
Yeah,
I want to get one just so people don't bother me. I'm going to buy a Gracie shirt just so no one picks on me.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Why? They'll just think this guy knows jiu-jitsu. Let's fucking
maybe.
leave him alone.
Or maybe they'll say, I think I can smack around this jiu-jitsu guy.
Probably. I'd probably make Henzo look bad.
You know?
They'd be like, what are you doing? You can't fight. Why are you wearing that? Like, it's my friend's. It's a Christmas gift.
Chuck Liddell, you put him with any of the light heavyweights now in his prime, I think he'd do well with anybody.
Yeah,
anybody.
I think so too.
Yeah, shit, man. The guy hits like a fucking horse.
He had a lot to do. He had a lot to do too with the UFC really picking up popularity because his highlight reel was phenomenal. Chuck, he looked invincible. I mean, his highlight reel was just incredible.
That was kind of the crazy thing when he fought Rampage. That was right on the cusp, I felt like, of when the UFC was getting huge, and he had carried the torch that whole time, and then he loses that fight to Rampage, and he never kind of got back to where he was. You know?
Yeah, I remember.
Ryan LaFleur, one loss to Damian Maia, and it went 5 rounds. Yeah. Why aren't people talking more about Ryan LaFleur?
I don't know.
Chris, the producer.
Well, we were talking about it a little bit beforehand. He's had a few decisions in a row, so maybe that's why that he hasn't had like a spectacular finish.
He has one loss.
Great. Yeah,
nobody talks about that.
13-1.
What is he in the UFC? What's
I want to say 5-1.
It is 5-1. You're right. I have it on there. Let me see.
You looked. You are a cool motherfucker.
What? I can't see it from here.
You
He's
handled
6-1. 6-1 in UFC fights.
Okay.
Know it
Mistake.
all. Yeah, look at you.
Made a mistake.
What, Jimmy?
What?
Did you do some research?
Well, I always do research before the fight. Sure.
Oh, you're saying I should do more research?
No, you're asking if I do.
I know.
I would never
I'm
speak for
I'm
you.
trying to flip it on you, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, no, I'll accept the fact.
When are we gonna have our first on-air fight?
We probably won't.
It probably won't happen.
Nah. I've had those before. They're never fun. They always leave a bad taste.
I think if you got mad at me or snapped at me, I don't even think I'd get mad. I'd be like, oh, come on, Jimmy. I don't think I can get mad at you.
Well, you could, but I don't think I can
Good?
get. Yeah, but we don't have a contentious.
Yeah.
That takes a long time to build up. Like you don't build up a contentious relationship
in a
with
year.
A guy,
We've been here
especially
a year.
doing it. You and I do 2 shows a week for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's hard in that short period of time. When you do a radio, I was doing it with Opie and Anthony. You're doing, at one point, we were doing a 5-hour show, 5 days a week.
How are you doing 5 hours?
It's a long 3 hours on regular radio and satellite combined, and then just 2 hours on pure satellite. That was a long show. That's a lot of talking. That's a lot of moods. It's a lot of waking up early and being tired. I was getting up at 5 in the morning. Yeah. And my lifestyle is not conducive with waking up at 5 in the morning.
Shit.
So I think it's different. I don't think you and I will have that.
Well, that's good to know.
I haven't been mad at you.
I know.
I have not been mad at you since we started the show.
You could tell me if you do get mad at me.
Nah, I haven't been.
I know who you've been mad at.
Who?
Me too. Looks.
Oh, well.
Oh,
Never really.
No, Chris. Why would we get mad at him?
Never really mad. Mildly annoyed sometimes, but he always knows it.
Yeah. I think Chris, the producer. It's funny when we talk about him when he's right.
Sure,
here.
like he's dead. Or like he's 78.
Like he left the room.
He's my grandfather.
He's always right there. Sometimes I think he tries to talk to me to like improve the show without sounding like strict about it. We're gonna have 4 guys in the studio today. We got to make sure, we take our time.
Yeah.
He said that when you're in the bathroom to me.
He gives little hints.
So I think he's giving hints for me not to just. I gotta make sure these guys talk. What were you saying that about, Chris?
I was just saying. I mean, when there's 4 people in the room, it's like you got to be careful not to step over each other. That's all.
Did he say that to you too, Jimmy?
He did not,
Okay.
but he might have. But I stepped on him. He
talked right over me. Yeah.
Which we almost had Mike Tyson today on the phone. So Chris texted me before, and it's like Mike's time is later. It's about 2:45, 2:30. But I have a doctor's appointment, and I put a deposit on, and I want to go get this handled. I don't want to,
I know.
It's
It
ruining
was
my
2:30.
life.
The thing was.
Yeah, but between 2 and 2:45, Mike.
That's the exact time he was going to call.
Between 2 and 2:45.
Okay. Eastern time.
Well, it's funny you should say
What?
that because that was the implication. But I'm friends with Mike's publicist,
Okay.
Joanne. I know her well, so I just texted her. I'm like, hey, look, they're pitching Mike to call in today, very last minute. I have a doctor's appointment. Can Mike call in earlier? At maybe between 12 and 1:30. We'd love to have him. And she said, well, I only have him for an hour on the phone today at 2:30, and that's 5:30 New York time. So he's in Vegas. So so basically I would have canceled the doctor's appointment at our producer's request.
Yeah.
And it would have been for no reason because Mike would not have called.
Yeah. But let me tell you about the.
So hopefully we'll get him this next week.
Yeah.
I love Mike.
Let me tell you about the rundowns, though, Chris. I got to try to gas him back up again. His jaw might be a thick. What about the rundowns, Chris, the producer, sends the night before, though?
Very, very poorly done. Oh,
no,
no, they're great.
Thorough.
I've said that before.
Thorough.
I think we've told Dana that too.
Yeah.
Not that he's remembers more than me. He's got a $1 billion empire, but
Right.
I have said that your rundowns are spectacular and you contribute greatly on the air.
Well, thank you.
See how we build you back up?
I did. Yeah.
We tear you down a little bit just to, show you your place.
Yeah. No, I get it.
No, Chris, the producer's a good dude, man.
I know.
I never once just called him Chris ever. I don't think I'm ever. It feels weird just saying that, Chris. What?
Yeah.
Who?
Because you think of Weidman
Who
or
the
other
fuck,
Chris's in your life.
How-
Everett.
Who are you even? No, Chris, the producer.
Oh, T.
Just- it
Hannity.
just,
Yeah,
you
there's
know?
always yeah.
One time, Lou covered for him, and you
I
called
remember that.
and you called him Lou, the producer. I wasn't a big fan of you calling him.
Well, he was Lou, the producer for the day.
But it doesn't. He might have been the producer for the day.
He's the acting
But you
producer.
can't just give out that because then that means
It also lets him
that
know.
means you could just replace him. Then he is well.
It lets him know.
It'll be hard to replace him.
It lets him know though that his
Irreplaceable.
moniker.
I'm not saying he's not irreplaceable. I'm saying I'm saying
His
you
moniker's
are
temporary.
fucking irreplaceable.
No, I'm not.
He's hard. I would mourn the guy. Couple of weeks, don't even talk to me.
Sure, but
I mean, I got kids.
Yeah.
I gotta be here. Is what I'm saying, Jimmy. But what I'm trying to say is, I would not throw. We got a guest producer. Hey, it's Lou. Our buddy Lou is going to be producing, but I'm not going to call him Lou the producer. You do what you like, and I'm not going to influence you.
sure.
But I think that's his honor, is Chris the producer.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's very nice.
Boy, they are.
All right, don't make it awkward.
Yeah, now it's all awkward. Now
I like it
it's-
better when I'm attacking him. I don't like when I give him a compliment. He gets all happy.
He doesn't know how to handle it.
Listen, we got to start breaking into some of these things, and then when they come in, they come in. You know why?
Yeah, we've been
Because
trying to
I'm
wait for the
trying not to
guys.
talk about this stuff, but I already am talking about it.
But let me ask you.
Go ahead.
We already talked about that. I love Cormier, as
Yeah.
you know. I'm on the record as loving Daniel Cormier, but I didn't necessarily love that quote.
What quote
I think
is
what
that?
he's saying.
I'm sorry, I'm stretching.
The quote you just talked about. What he might be saying is that I think guys start young now. Like, it's not like, other guys who are like 17, 18, 20 when they get into it. Guys are starting at 7 and 8 years old.
Yeah.
So maybe they're more well-rounded fighters by the time they're adults because they've been training longer. You know what I mean? If you're training to the time you're 8, by the time you're 25, you got 17 years in.
But it's true, though. Like, a lot of things people will... for the most part, it's true. People will evolve. But at the end of the day, it's a fight, man. And there's some
That's
fighters...
true.
Like, look, I mean, not to bring up the Frankie Edgar versus Yair fight, but that was the brand new athlete, the new school versus the other thing. The guy's on one of those, like, moving like that skateboard thingy, and he's juggling shit, whatever the fuck he's doing. Yeah. And then Frankie takes him down and just old school, just blasts him from the guard. He's beating the crap out of him. I mean, that's just the guy to know. That's just a fucking fighter. You put that guy in any era, he's gonna destroy somebody.
You know what that is? That's what happened. You know, Yair was looked at as like an automatic weapon, and Frankie was a 6-shooter. And what happened was the 6-shooter is much more reliable because it doesn't jam. So the fucking automatic jammed, and what happened is Frankie 6-shooter, which should be his new nickname, fucking pumps 6 shots into him.
I mean, listen, it could be the worst.
Frankie, worst 6-shooter, Edgar. I like it.
You're the only one that likes that.
You like it. Chris likes it.
I cannot wait to get that fucking boo thing ready.
Why?
Because I'm going to be controlling that thing.
Let me try it again.
And I will just fucking be able just to press that button.
This is our new intro from Frankie Edgar. Frankie, you can have this. I want nothing for it. Welcome, Frankie, 6-shooter Edgar.
Bang, bang. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, boo. You suck.
All right, I thought it'd be a good nickname.
Sorry about that.
I'm not good at giving nicknames.
Nah, he's the answer. He's the answer.
He is the answer.
He's got the answer for everything.
I just came up with a good one.